Today, we are digging into a book that completely changes how you think about time management. It's 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman, and it all boils down to one single, kind of shocking number.
4,000. Now, just look at that number for a second. This isn't just some random figure. It's not a productivity goal. No, this number is probably the most important fact about your life.
That's it. If you're lucky enough to live to 80, you get about 4,000 weeks. That's all. Berkman says this: absurdly short time isn't just one of our problems, it's the problem. We have these infinite dreams and ambitions, but basically no time to do them.
And get this isn't some new modern anxiety. People have felt this way forever. The Roman philosopher Seneca was writing about this same feeling 2,000 years ago. The difference is, our world has come up with a very specific solution, one that, as we'll see, is deeply flawed.
So what's the solution we're all sold on? Just be more productive, be more efficient. But what if trying to do that is the very thing making us feel so stressed? This is what Berkman calls the efficiency trap.
And here's the paradox, right? We chase all these productivity hacks thinking they'll finally give us some peace, some control. We think if I can just get everything done, I'll be able to relax. But what actually happens? The more we do, the busier we feel. It's a treadmill, not a finish line.
Berkman has this great metaphor for it. Picture a conveyor belt, and all your tasks are on it, coming right at you. You think, okay, I'll just work faster, I'll clear the belt. But as soon as you get more efficient at grabbing things off the belt, it just speeds up. More tasks coming at you even faster than before. You can't win.
This whole thing becomes a vicious cycle. It's like Parkinson's law on steroids. First, you get really good at your job. So what happens? They give you more work. And because you're good, your own standards get higher. So you end up more swamped than when you started. It's a trap.
So, if our whole modern approach to time is a trap, what on earth is the alternative? Well, according to Berkman, it's not about finding a better system. It's about facing a much deeper, more fundamental truth.
The real answer isn't about doing more. It's about fully, truly accepting that you can't do it all. It's about looking your own limitations, your own finitude, straight in the eye.
Finitude. It's a bit of a philosophical word, but all it means is that we're limited. We're not infinite. We have a limited amount of time, a limited amount of talent, and very limited control over the world. The philosopher Heidegger said that a truly authentic life only begins when we stop running from this fact and actually face it.
I mean, think about it for a second. If you had forever, would any decision really matter? You could always choose something else later, or in a million years. It's the very fact that our time is short, those 4,000 weeks, that makes our choices meaningful. It gives life its urgency.
This is a real headline, and it's kind of funny, but it points to a serious truth. An infinite life without end might actually be, well, boring, meaningless even. The shortness of life is what makes it precious.
For a perfect, if tragic, example of this, look at the writer Franz Kafka. He spent 5 whole years agonizing over whether to marry his fiancée, Felice Bauer. See, he wanted to be a husband, but he also wanted to be a solitary writer. He couldn't choose. And by refusing to make one finite choice, by trying to keep all his options open, he ended up with neither. He just lived in this state of constant torture.
Okay, so this all sounds very philosophical, but what does it actually look like to embrace our limits day to day? It's not about being a pessimist and giving up. It's about getting really smart about what you choose to do and what you choose to let go of.
This idea is a total game changer. You have to accept that procrastination is inevitable. In fact, you're procrastinating right now. By watching this, you're choosing not to do everything else in the entire universe. So the trick isn't to stop procrastinating, it's to choose what you neglect. It's to procrastinate on purpose.
There's this fantastic story about Warren Buffett. He supposedly told his pilot to make a list of his top 25 career goals, then circle the top 5. Those 5 are your focus. But what about the other 20? Most people would say, oh, those are my second-tier goals. But Buffett's advice was no. Those 20 are now your avoid at all costs list. Why? Because they're interesting enough to distract you from your real priorities, but not important enough to build your life on.
So doing truly meaningful things, it takes a long time. It requires patience, and Berkman gives us 3 principles to help cultivate it. First, you've got to learn to be okay with having problems. They're part of any worthwhile project. Second, just focus on making small, steady progress. And third, he uses this wonderful metaphor: just stay on the bus.
So the idea comes from the story about the main bus station in Helsinki. Apparently, for the first mile or so, every single bus leaving the station follows the exact same route. It's only after that initial stretch that they diverge onto their own unique paths. And that's a perfect metaphor for creative work, or really any skill. There's always an early phase that feels kind of unoriginal, where you're just learning the ropes. You have to have the patience to stay on the bus long enough to reach the point where your unique path finally begins.
Okay, this brings us to the final, and honestly, the most liberating idea in the whole book. Berkman calls it cosmic insignificance therapy. And it's exactly what it sounds like.
Just ask yourself that, seriously. In the grand scheme of things, across billions of years and billions of galaxies, how much do your 4,000 weeks really matter?
The honest answer is it doesn't. At all. And I know that can feel really harsh at first. It sounds depressing, but just wait.
Why is realizing your own cosmic insignificance not a reason to despair, but actually a source of incredible freedom? Because it lifts an impossible weight off your shoulders.
Think about it. When you feel like you have to do something historically significant, you're crushed by that pressure. You have to change the world or live up to your potential. But the moment you accept that you're just a tiny speck, you're free. You're free to stop worrying about your legacy and just do things that are meaningful on a small human scale. You can just be who you are, right here, right now.
And really, that's the heart of it. You finally get permission to give up on the impossible dream of doing everything and controlling everything. And in that surrender, you find the freedom to roll up your sleeves and finally start working on the one finite, beautiful, and gloriously possible life that you actually have.